now it's Al Jazeera, right? And especially Al Jazeera, because of anti-Muslim sentiment in the U.S., Al Jazeera has had a very, very hard time getting on U.S. cable. But they are visibly the most important network in the world today, because the place where the action is covered best by Al Jazeera. Their live feed of Cairo was extraordinary. And the really interesting question in the U.S. is our desire for important international information that especially concerns the United States weaker than or stronger than our anti-Muslim sentiment? I hope that Al Jazeera gets national coverage, but it's entirely possible that the U.S. will be Islamophobic enough to prevent that from happening. I don't know how true that is, which is to say, I think the worst of the conspiracy theories are unlikely to be true, but just as the New York Times has a political position on the spectrum, as does The Guardian, as does the Wall Street Journal, so does Al Jazeera. My answer to that has almost always been, essentially Habermas's answer, which is bring all of the voices into the public sphere and have them argue with one another. There was, I think, a revealing moment in the literal and figurative sense when precisely this criticism of Al Jazeera came up, where with the rising of the Jan 25 uprising in Egypt, their Qatari puppet masters are in bed with the Mubarak regime, and so they're not reporting this very well. And there was a kind of like, they were very good on Tunisia, but Egypt. And 2 days later, they are risking their lives to send journalists in. They keep getting shut down. They play a cat and mouse game. There was one moment where they just stuck a camera out the window, barricaded the door. You could hear the Egyptian police pounding. And you think, if that's the behavior that means they're in the pocket of the Mubarak regime, I'll take that. So I think we could see that even if there is a Qatari influence, as there probably is because of their headquarters, it's not so strong that when the most important event in the world is in Cairo, it's not so strong to prevent Al Jazeera from not just reporting it, but really seriously creating risk for themselves as a business and the individual journalists creating risk for themselves on the ground to cover that event.